Good evening. Welcome to the November 10th, 2020 virtual admin meeting of the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners. Sorry, I have been doing this for 4 hours now, walking into my fifth. So if I'm a little verklempt, you'll know why. So welcome. Silent invocation, Pledge of Allegiance. So we will take a silent invocation. And tonight our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by, let's do former Representative Mr. Rick Miera. Looks like he's joining us. It'd be great to have him give us the pledge. That'd be great.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, I know you serve on our Metropolitan Detention Center Board too, so thank you so much. First I'll ask, are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Madam County Manager, if you've joined us, or is someone here in your stead? I know you've been very busy.
I'm here, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. There's actually two changes. Item 3A under Commissioners, Bernalillo County Contracted Nurse Practitioners and the medical staff to be added to the agenda as item 4E, as in Edward, under proclamations. And then the second one is we're respectfully requesting a referral of item 10B as in boy, Behavioral Health Initiative, expansion of capital and startup presentation. Those are the two that I have, and a vote is required for the changes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam County Manager. I would move approval to move item 3A to item 4E, as well as to defer item 10B. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Piscotti, Commissioner Casada. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'm not sure if it's Madam Clerk or Ms. Kavanaugh, but can I have the roll, please?
Absolutely. Commissioner Colley.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley.
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti.
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada.
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kavanaugh. Appreciate it. She's been with us all day. Thanks for being a trooper and stepping in. Okay, so those are approved. So with that, we'll move on to the first item. 4A proclamation is Nurse Practitioners Week. Commissioner Colley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me read the proclamation. Whereas nurse practitioners are trusted healthcare providers in Bernalillo County and nationwide, highly skilled practitioners with advanced education and training who have expanded on their initial nurse preparation. And whereas nurse practitioners combat health disparities and expand healthcare access to underserved communities, especially in New Mexico, where around 800 nurse practitioners serve diverse communities and are authorized to practice independently. And whereas over 60% of nurse practitioners have combated community spread during the COVID-19 pandemic nationwide through the diagnosis and treatment of patients, resulting in the death of many in the line of service. And whereas the World Health Organization has designated 2020 as the International Year of the Nurse and the Midwife to honor the legacy of Florence Nightingale and the services of nurse professionals worldwide. And whereas while nurse practitioners are found most commonly in primary care, they can be found in all fields of healthcare, including gerontology, women's health, and psychiatry. And whereas nurse practitioners at the CARES campus of the University of New Mexico hospitals are acknowledged by the Bernalillo County Behavioral Health Department for providing frontline behavioral health care, including substance use disorder treatment and advice to pursue long-term healthy lifestyle choices. And whereas 3 nurse practitioners serve in our Metropolitan Detention Center, including 2 medical nurse practitioners and 1 psychiatric nurse practitioners. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim November 8 through 14, 2020 as National Nurse Practitioner Week in recognition of the countless contributions nurse practitioners have made over the past half century and continue to make in service to the residents of Bernalillo County, done this 10th day of November 2020 in Bernalillo County, state of New Mexico. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Colley. Appreciate that. Nurses are incredibly important on the front line right now, especially in this crazily virus that we're all dealing with on a daily basis. So thanks for recognizing them. Item 4B, League of Women Voters. Commissioner Colley, you're up again.
That's me again, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your patience. We have just completed a general national election, and it seems appropriate at this time to recognize the League of Women Voters. Acknowledging that the League of Women Voters celebrates its 100th year in 2020 after being founded in 1920, shortly before the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, providing women the right to vote, and was created to assist over 20 million women in the United States to carry out their responsibilities as voters, and acknowledging that the League of Women Voters has maintained an influential role in encouraging voter access and education through its observer status at the United Nations by winning the 1976 Emmy Award for its hosting of the presidential debates and advocating for the passage of the National Voter Registration Act and the Help America Vote Act, and acknowledging that the League of Women Voters publishes a lauded, nonpartisan voter guide each general election that lists important election dates, provides information on how to vote, lists the candidates, constitutional amendments, and bond questions on the ballot, and offers candidate responses to important topical questions, amongst other critical information, and acknowledging that the League of Women Voters in 2006 began operation of the vote411.org website as a one-stop shop for election-related information, which provides both nationwide and Bernalillo County-related voting information, including voter registration links, a ballot lookup tool, a polling place locator, and information located in its voter guides, and acknowledging that the League of Women Voters of Central New Mexico serves Bernalillo, Sandoval, Torrance, and Valencia County residents with additional resources, including a pamphlet listing local leaders and how to contact them, online links to the Secretary of State's office, and a monthly newspaper on updates on local government and civil rights issues. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners recognizes the League of Women Voters for its dedicated, nonpartisan service to voting access, civic literacy, and voter education. Done this 10th day of November 2020 in Bernalillo County, state of New Mexico. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Colley. Bernalillo County Bond Committee, presentation of acknowledgement. Not sure who's doing that one, but Commissioner Colley, you're welcome to. No, just kidding. Whoever's next.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good evening. As you all know, we're very excited that our all our bonds passed this past election cycle. So we, of course, want to thank our wonderful community for saying yes to our bonds. And I particularly want to thank our bond committee, Mr. Carlos Padilla. I don't know if he's present, but he is the chairman of the committee. And I don't know, Julianne, was he going to attend?
No, the bond committee was going to view the live stream.
Okay, all right. I also wanted to acknowledge Liz Ham, who worked every year. I call her and she volunteers. And as everyone knows, she was our public information officer and did a wonderful job for the county for many years and is now retired. And so she's graciously accepted my invitations every year to come back and help us out to market our initiative to pass our bonds. So I don't know if you all have seen the billboards around town, but that's because of them and all the marketing that happens and educating the community. So I just also Dina Archuleta, who is our former county commissioner, is on the committee. I know that there's other members as well, and I apologize. I don't have a list of those bond committee members, but I'll make sure to get them to Julianne for the record, just to thank them so much for their tireless work on the efforts to raise, awareness of our bond funds. And like I say, it's a great day in Bernalillo County. Almost $40 million of our bonds passed. So very exciting, a very exciting time. So thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam County Manager. Appreciate that. Okay, Public Works Water Conservation Program. Elias.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Each year, the Natural Resources Section's Water Conservation Program staff aids residents throughout Bernalillo County to receive free or discounted rain barrels to irrigate landscapes and reduce demand on groundwater supplies on the Rio Grande. And this year, in light of the pandemic, our staff made some remarkable strides in getting this out. So though we offer the rain barrels for year-round delivery, we normally see the majority of our requests for deliveries occur beginning in March of each year as people are starting their gardening and sprucing up their yards. So not to be impeded, the water conservation staff continue to receive applications once the COVID pandemic started. And due to the unsafe conditions of having to deliver these to individual property owners' homes, we decided to suspend delivery until we thought we had a better approach and maybe a downtick in the virus transmissions. So we decided to pick up delivery again in mid-June. And from that point forward, staff provided nearly 92 residents with rain barrels by the end of June, and then continued this remarkable delivery rate and ended up delivering in the first quarter of 2021, 132 rain barrels. This marked about a 43% increase over the over fiscal year 2020, and accounted for about 66% of their total deliveries for all of 2021. So therefore, I'd like to applaud our water conservation program staff for their resilience and this remarkable accomplishment in serving the public of Bernalillo County. So tonight, representing, we have our water conservation and resource manager, Megan Marcy, is with us. But I'd also like to recognize our natural resource program manager, Dan McGregor, where this program is housed, and also our conservation program staff members, Savannah Martinez, Mark Jacobson, and Veronica Carrillo. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Elias, very much, and congratulations to your staff. Obviously, we know that water is the elixir of life and we need plenty of it all the time. So anything we can do when we can conserve is great, and we appreciate it. So nice work to you and your team. Thank you. Item E, which is the added item, Bernalillo County contracted nurse practitioners and medical staff, Vice Chair Piscotti, to give that acknowledgement.
Yes, thank you. Acknowledgement. The Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners does hereby acknowledge nurse practitioners and clinical staff of the CARE campus, acknowledging that the University of New Mexico Hospital's nurse practitioners and medical staff of the Comprehensive Assessment and Resiliency through Excellence CARE campus serve as trusted frontline healthcare providers for clients as medical observation and treatment staff, and acknowledging that nurse practitioners from UNMH are skilled professionals with advanced educational and clinical training who, alongside the 290,000 nurse practitioners licensed in the United States provide over 1 billion annual patient visits nationwide, and acknowledging that nurse practitioners at the care campus not only diagnose and treat acute and chronic substance use disorders, but provide and guide clients into making better informed long-term health and lifestyle choices. And acknowledging that the nurses, medical assistants, and nurse practitioners on the care campus are working alongside Bernalillo County Department of Behavioral Health staff to serve a vulnerable population and meet their behavioral health needs on a daily basis, and acknowledging that November 8th through 14 is National Nurse Practitioner Week, which honors the service of nurse practitioners throughout the country who serve diverse and underserved communities in all fields of medicine, from primary care to gerontology and psychiatry. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners recognizes and honors the University of New Mexico hospitals, nurse practitioners, and medical staff of the CARE campus for their continued service to Bernalillo County, done this 10th day of November 2020 in Bernalillo County, state of New Mexico, and signed by all the commissioners. And thank you, Margarita, for all of your work and direction at the CARE campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Piscotti. That's great when we see the care and understanding that our own staff and their respective teams are doing each day. You know, this virus is crazy. It's crazy for all of us. Every day, more and more of us are being touched, and the importance around safety protocols to make sure those we come in contact with become even more important and not taken for granted. So to Margarita and her team, and I see Deputy County Manager, Fire Chief Perez wearing his mask right now. So he's obviously being responsible to other people who are sitting there with him. So thank you all very much. And it's important we not forget. So thanks. So with that, we now, well, actually, before we do public comment, I'm going to read the closed meeting statements that are needed to be read into the meeting minutes. And I can honestly say this will probably be the last time in my 8 years that I'm going to read these statements. And back in the day, we used to give these statements to the rookie commissioner. And so when I started, they're like, hey, Talbert, you read these. And I kept reading them. I kept reading them. And finally, I wanted someone new to join just so I could have them read these statements. But, you know, I'm going to read them myself into the record as if I were the very first year commissioner when they gave them to me. So let me do that now. Closed meeting statement 1. I offer the following statement regarding the closed litigation meeting held Monday, November 2nd, 2020 at 3 p.m. Only those items described on the published notice and agenda for the closed meeting held on November 2nd, 2020 were discussed at the closed meeting. I need a motion for approval of this statement, and it will become part of the minutes of this meeting. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move to approve.
Vice Chair, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Casada, thank you so much. All in favor of this amazingly read closed meeting statement 1, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Kavanaugh, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
and Chairman Talbert.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Motion unanimous. Number 2, I move that the Bernalillo County Attorney be authorized to proceed with the matters discussed in the closed meeting held on Monday, November 2nd, 2020, within the parameters set by this commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Colley, thank you. Fast on the buzzer. Piscotti, she's getting a little slow. Too many hours in that little closed room. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Kavanaugh, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
okay. Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbot.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Moving right along. Ms. Julianne, public comment and communications. Did we have any public comment and communications before the commission?
We received multiple comments from Geraldine Amato, and they'll be made part of the record for this meeting.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Item 5A, preventing youth homelessness, presentation by Children, Youth, and Family Department. Commissioner O'Malley is the sponsor. Commissioner O'Malley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm very pleased to sponsor the presentation on preventing homeless youth. It really is focused on particularly foster children who age out of the system. And with us today are folks who have been working on this issue from CYFD, and they can, I guess, introduce themselves before they speak and their titles and what departments they work for. I have Margaret Aragonda Chavez, Hillary Lipton, Emily Martin, and Terry Locke.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Malley. Not sure who's going to speak first, but Deputy Secretary Terry Locke is first on the list. If you'd like to start, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. My name is Terry Locke, the Deputy Cabinet Secretary at CYFD, and on behalf of the department, we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here with you this evening to share our plans for providing housing to youth who would otherwise age out of the CYFD system of care, and as was mentioned, who have a statistically higher chance of becoming homeless. I'd like to introduce you to our CYFD team who will present this evening and then turn the presentation over to them. Again, we've got Hillary Lipton here with us, Emily Martin, and Margaret Aragon de Chavez. And with that, I'll turn things over to Hillary. Good evening, Hillary.
Oh, well, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and speak. I think I was before Hillary. My name is Margaret Aragon Chavez. I'm the Director of Community Outreach and Special Projects for CYFD. I've been with them a number of years, and I know a lot of you, and so it's nice to see some familiar faces. Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, we appreciate your time, and Commissioner O'Malley, thank you for sponsoring this with us tonight. You're going to have a presentation on the specific need of what is happening in not just in Albuquerque, but across the state and obviously across the nation. We have youth that don't have a safe place to stay, and that there's really no specific homeless shelters for these individuals. And so they're being housed with adults, and many times that's probably very unsafe. The ultimate goal is, after the presentation today and after answering any questions, my hope as the community outreach person for CYFD is that you would help me connect with other commissioners across the state of New Mexico to be able to present the need for the things that we're going to discuss tonight. So thank you again, and I'll let Hillary Lipton take it over from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. I will always let you go first. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, commissioners. My name is Hillary Lipton. I'm the Director of Transition Aged Youth at CYFD. I came to CYFD a little over a year ago from the Annie E. Casey Foundation, and before that was with the New Mexico Judiciary for 10 years. So we at CYFD have been focusing on older youth services since Secretary Blaylock arrived in 2019. He is a national expert in older youth services, and particularly in a staunch advocate for homelessness prevention for youth. Also in 2019, the Fostering Connections Act passed the New Mexico State Legislature. And Fostering Connections is an extension of care program that allows us to provide additional funding and services, extensive case management for young people 18 to 21. And in addition, at CYFD, we also serve an aftercare program for for young people 21 to 26 in many cases. The Fostering Connections program has two goals specific to it. One of those goals is ending youth homelessness, and the other is connecting young people to community-based behavioral health services. And both of those goals should sound very familiar to you all. I know it's been a focus of the County Commission for many years. And part of what was happening when we designed the Fostering Connections program is that we designed it with a mandate to provide housing. So we legally have to provide housing to all young people who are participating in the Fostering Connections program. And when we're talking about who these homeless youth are, Commissioner O'Malley is right. We are absolutely talking about youth who come from systems of care, right? And they definitely, youth who come out of systems of care, so out of foster care or out of juvenile justice, have a much higher percentage of becoming homeless than youth who are sort of traveling along a normal path, whatever that might mean. But there are also, when we think about homeless youth, we should think about it in a really holistic way, right? So we're not just talking about, we're talking about youth who are young parents. We're talking about youth who are students at CNM or UNM. We're talking about young people who are survivors of sex trafficking or LGBTQ youth, right? So it's a very holistic population. So at CYFD, when we're talking about homeless youth, we're talking about all youth 13 to 25 who have unsafe or unstable housing or are unsheltered, right? And that's who we want to work on the homelessness prevention, right, with that population. And there has been so much work happening in New Mexico around youth homelessness. And so, for example, it has been an honor to work with other systems leaders on the youth subcommittee of the Homeless Coordinating Council. I've participated on all those meetings along with my colleagues, and it has been amazing. There's so much alignment. I'm not going to step on their excitement, or as the young people say, I'm not going to step on their excitement. I'm going to let them do their presentation, but we are all very much in alignment, and you'll hear that in just a moment. We've also at CYFD worked very closely with Betty at the Bernalillo County Housing Authority. My staff really couldn't do their job without her staff. So she has been so incredibly valuable to our work. What we are really focused on building at CYFD with our colleagues and with our partners are high impact solutions that are youth-centric, designed with young people who are experts. There is a saying nationally, nothing about us without us, and we really believe that. The other focus that we have in this work is youth homelessness is very unique. It's hard to count youth that are homeless for a lot of different reasons. And so doing a youth-specific assessment that looks at the stability of behavioral health services, as well as housing interventions, is a critical step in making sure we're on the right path to ending youth homelessness. And the third and final thing is we are really committed to an aligned partnership. Margaret did an amazing job of describing what we'd like to accomplish statewide. And we are delighted to start here in the metro area with you in the city, in the county and the city of Albuquerque. We are all working to build, we're equally committed to building high impact interventions using braided funding, using federal dollars, state dollars, Medicaid, private dollars. And we are so excited to be building this with you all, and I'm looking forward to what we can create. So with that, I will pause for questions.
Anyone? Well, thank you all very much. Thank you, Commissioner O'Malley, for bringing this before the commission. Appreciate it. And thanks to all of you for doing what you're doing, especially during these challenging times, making sure our youth are always protected no matter what is critical, especially now that many of them are being isolated and not really having the ability to interact with others who could help them possibly through some of these troubles. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank all the presenters. I know they're working very hard on this particular issue. They're looking for different funding streams. I know there's some already that are been dedicated to this effort, and but it's important to have these partnerships.
Agree. Thank you, Commissioner.
Chairman, if I may just add one more thing, is that the one thing that we're hoping to do is eventually find with the partners that you have is, you know, safe housing for these kids in areas of town of Albuquerque specifically, that not, you know, that are in safe areas that these kids can have a fighting chance at stability. And so we're hoping that if any of you know, any managers of any apartment houses, that you could help us form relationships with them to ensure that, you know, they will get their rent, and that we'll work with them and that we can provide safe housing for our kids. The other possibility is, you know, houses that perhaps might end up being torn down. You know, if we could make them into a shelter for specifically our kids that are homeless, rather than putting them in adult shelters. And so I know a lot of times there are homes that become available, and, you know, we would love to see if by some chance, if there was a 3 or 4 bedroom, it would be an excellent start to preventing our kids from having to go to adult shelters with, you know, perhaps people that have been, you know, incarcerated for a long time. And, you know, we're trying to steer our kids in the right way, and we just don't want any influences that could direct them in the wrong way. So, you know, if there's any housing that becomes available that we can partner with and try to make a safe and beautiful home, as everybody deserves, a safe place to lay their head at night. So those are things that I'd like for you all to keep in mind. You can contact any of us. And again, please, if you can, you know, put us in touch. And I know the manager, Julie, is very awesome. And so hopefully she can put me in contact, or maybe we could present at the statewide conference that you may have. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Item 5B, Boys and Girls Club of Central New Mexico. Oh, Commissioner Colley?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that. Just make sure I'm hearing what you're saying.
Okay.
That you are looking for partnerships with governmental units like the county or the city, and are ready, willing, and able to help with finding significant housing within the community for the age group you mentioned, 13 to 25. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, sir.
You are aware that the county, the city, and the University of New Mexico has an incredibly active program going on in which is a very active concern for youth, homeless youth housing. And I'm assuming that they're well aware of your offer and are proceeding to accept it and happily and ready to go tomorrow, I'm sure.
Hillary, I think you could answer that.
Thank you, Commissioner Colley. Thank you, Margaret. So that we have been very active in the youth subcommittee, and we, I know that they are the chairs of that subcommittee are very cognizant of wanting to present a unified recommendations to the commissioners and to the city of Albuquerque. And so we've been working with Jennifer Sacco a lot with the county, and we are in alignment with them. But I think Margaret's point is, I mean, it's Margaret. And so she's asking, you know, for buildings, and that's what we would love to have. And so thank you. If you know of any, we'll take them, and we'll work with Jen Sacco and Quinn Donnelly at the city and lift that up. But yes, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, well, we all know that we need an older youth shelter. That's the main one.
I'm very grateful for that. And it could not come at a more important time, and the involvement of the state in the local programming is critical. And let me just give 2 more seconds on that, Mr. Chair. I apologize for jumping onto this. It seems to me that Albuquerque, because it's the largest urban center in the state, and in Bernalillo County in particular, attracts many homeless youth because it seems like, that would be a place where they could find a safe place. So, in some ways, what the state does through local things in Albuquerque is a work for the entire state. And we're grateful for the partnership because so much of what we do involves folks who live outside of our immediate region. And so state resources, state involvement, state participation is a critical piece. And frankly, I don't think we could be nearly as effective without state support. So thank you for coming in. Thank you for your offer. And please know how welcome it is.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Colley. Appreciate that. Item 5B, Boys and Girls Club of Central New Mexico. Commissioner Colley, you're up still.
Yeah, that keeps happening. Colby, I know you're here from the Boys and Girls Club. Let me just say that, our work with youth in the community is critical, and we have many fine organizations that do that. And Colby is here, and I'm going to turn it over to him. And thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Colley. Can you all hear me okay? We good?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, good evening. My name is Colby Wilson. I'm the CEO, Chief Encouragement Officer for the Boys and Girls Clubs here in Central New Mexico. I've been on the job a little over a year and apologize for the fact that I haven't gotten to meet all of you. I look forward to that day when we can meet face to face again, and hopefully that day is coming soon. In the meantime, I wanted to stop in and give you an update on what we're doing at the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you for your support. And also wanted to mention, thank you to the folks at CYFD. We have a great partnership with you all, and appreciate all the work you're doing as well during this difficult time. Julianne, do you have that slideshow going? Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Julianne. So traditionally, the Boys and Girls Club is an out-of-school, after-school, summertime program for elementary, middle, and high school students. We provide mentorship, career exploration, academic support. But during this pandemic, we have actually opened 3 sites in Bernalillo County, one at Truman Street in the Heights neighborhood, one at Adobe Acres Elementary in the South Valley, and one at Alvarado Elementary in the North Valley. And we're open all day, and we are encouraging kids who need support to come in. All the kids who are coming into the club during the day are attending school virtually. So if they don't have a tablet, we provide it. If they don't have internet at home, they can come in. And really the most important thing is there's going to be a professional Boys and Girls Club staff member or AmeriCorps member on site there to help them log on, keep track of their assignments, help with homework help, and provide a lot of that, adult supervision that so many of these kids need during this time, of virtual learning. I have 2 kids myself, and I know how tough it is for kids to stay on track in school during these times. So in addition to the academic support, they're obviously getting a lot of other enrichment after the school day, physical fitness, learning how to cook and eat healthy, and a lot of the different music and arts programs that we provide. But the most important thing I want y'all to know is that we're really trying to be there for those kids who, if the club wasn't open, they, would probably be at home without supervision, without help, without any influence to, encourage them to stay on track in school. We are keeping track of weekly assignments. Our goal is that every kid who comes to our club this school year is on track to advance to the next grade level. And so far, I feel really good about the impact we're having in that area. We had a young student come register and sign up for us last week, logged into their Google Classroom, and he had 200 missing assignments. And so our goal is going to be, let's start chipping away at those. And by, in the next couple months, hopefully that number's at zero. And so this is the type of need that is out there right now. Our model has completely shifted during this pandemic. And when it's over, we're going to go back to, the out of school time and how important and critical that time is, and especially for teens and middle school and high school youth. But for right now, this is really where we're focused. I know there's a lot of other organizations out there doing some similar support. We're trying not to, duplicate or go into areas where that service is already available. But I think one of the big ones could be the South Valley. I think there's a lot of need there, and we're looking to grow our program in Adobe Acres. We have limited space there, but if anybody has ideas or hears about need or neighborhoods that may need something that I just described, a program that I just kind of explained to you, please reach out to me and let me know. As I said, I'm just finishing up my first year on the job, new to Albuquerque, new to New Mexico. I was the CEO for the Boys and Girls Clubs in Lawrence, Kansas for 8 years, and just very excited about the potential we have here to solve some of the issues that pandemic aside, around education and juvenile crime and those things. I think the Boys and Girls Club can play a big role there. And I just look forward to working with all of you to make a difference in those areas. Any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Casada.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that. And I'm the commissioner for the South Valley. I'm
Yes,
going to
sir.
tell you that, we've struggled with our, through this pandemic, we've struggled through our, our community centers, trying to adhere to what our governor has put in place. So I understand, the limits of what we could do. I'm a former APS school board member, so I know how important it is for kids to have access to many things, technology, internet, to be able to have the same opportunities that other parts of the city have. I would be interested in talking with you, about what we have available in the South Valley and what we could do. I think what people need to be aware of, especially in my district, that we have a third of the COVID cases. So in Bernalillo County, most of the cases are coming out of my district. And it's not because we're not wearing masks, and it's not because we're not doing what is asked of us, but what we are the workforce. We're the ones that are working in the grocery stores, in the hospitals, in the restaurants, and all those frontline workers. Seems to be that from the information that we're getting, that's where COVID. And so with that being said, that means our parents are going to work, and we need somebody to support those children while those parents, go out and risk their lives to provide for their families. And, we've done some really good things, but I think that we really need to look at how do we go into each part of the South Valley and really my whole district, and how do we support parents and help them with the guidance of their children in the right direction. We have a lot of programs that we have, but a lot of them don't come and present to us. I was a big part of YDI for a big part of my life. I did the gang intervention programs for YDI. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't heard not one presentation from YDI as I've been, maybe one back in when I first started as commissioner from YDI, and what they're doing for the children in the South Valley in our district. And we're going to need to partner with as many other organizations to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the community. So I hope you reach out to my office so we can start a dialogue and look at, perhaps there's some opportunity or some space that we could support the Boys and Girls Club. I'm a big advocate of the Boys and Girls Club. I used to go when I was a kid. I actually hosted one of your big events to raise money on the Big Blue Door. And so I'm also available to help you with fundraising as separate from my commission job, but me as just Stephen Michael Quesada, the guy. So we could continue to do the right thing for our community. So I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will definitely reach out. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner O'Malley.
thank you. First of all, I really wasn't aware. I thought the schools were essentially shut down. So the question I have is, in terms of the school, for example, you mentioned Alvarado, and my grandchildren are enrolled in Alvarado. What is the capacity for your, I guess this is an after school program, right?
Yes.
And so you have to abide by the social distancing regulations. So I imagine there's a max of children that you can serve.
Yes, there definitely is a max, and obviously we're following all the COVID safe practices that are out there, and so that makes it tough from a capacity standpoint. 1 to 5 staff to kid ratio, and the amount of kids you can have in a group. But to be honest with you, the type of support that these kids need right now is very intense. And even if we didn't have those restrictions, we would need to have a very high amount of staff and AmeriCorps members available to help kids with their schoolwork. I would say at Alvarado, again, this is traditionally a school that we have a partnership with. We would do an after-school program. So we have that partnership already established. They felt like because of the location of Alvarado, maybe, some of the other community centers aren't as accessible in that area, that, there would be a need for students to come in and attend school virtually. Right now, our numbers are I think our biggest day has been 15 kids, but we could do close to 30 in partnership with the school if we opened up more classrooms and hired more staff. So the capacity is not really, it's just a matter of space and money, honestly. But right now, we just opened the site about 3 weeks ago, so we're still building towards, the need. We haven't had more than that come in and inquire about the program.
Okay, I appreciate it. Well, and this is the first I've heard of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Malley. Anyone else at this time?
Mr. Chair, let me just thank Colby for coming and say that the way we kind of tripped over each other was that Councilor Davis with the city called me and said he was low on his ability to fund some community issues, and would I share with him the costs of getting some children out of Emerson Elementary into the Boy and Girls Club. They were English as a second language kids. They did not have Wi-Fi at home. They didn't have tablets, and the Boys and Girls Club was happy to pick that up and to move with that, but there was some funding required. So the city and the county deliberately moved together to make sure that some of the Emerson Elementary kids could take advantage of that program. So thank you, Mr. Wilson. If you're through, then I'll thank Chairman Talbert and give up this space.
Thank you, Commissioner Colley. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Colby Wilson. Appreciate it. Thank you, Commissioner Colley. Before we get on to item C, I did want to just throw a quick shout out to, we have 2 young listeners tonight on our meeting. We have Mr. Lucas and Mr. Leo Saavedra, who are, I think, somewhere between, let's say 12 and 5, with their grandmother, Miss Laura Lee Ortiz, who happens to be on the Detention Facility Oversight Board, who we're going to hear from now with Mr. Miera and Mr. Brasher. So I did want to give them a quick shout out to tell them thank you for listening to the commission meeting and listening to their grandma. And it's always good to see young people getting involved in government at an early age. So Lucas and Leo, keep it up, brothers. Appreciate you. So with that, we'll move on to item 5C. We've got a detention facility management oversight board update annual report from our chair, Mr. Rick Miera, Representative Miera, as well as Vice Chair Commissioner Michael Brasher to present. Whoever's going to start, please have at it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Esteemed members of the Bernalillo County Commission, it's an honor to be able to present to you the Detention Facility Management Oversight Board Annual Report, our 2020 report. It's so nice to see so many friendly faces as we're doing something virtually here. And so thank you for that opportunity. I'm going to go briefly over the report, but we sent you a report about a month ago now, and it's entitled the Detention Facility Report from the board. The DFMO, as I'll respond to it now, was created to replace the Public Safety Advisory Board June 9th, 2015, with the passage of the Detention Facility Oversight Ordinance. The DFMO was created as a system to review MDC and ensure that they are operating within the laws of New Mexico and the United States. The DFMO also aims to resolve issues surrounding McClendon versus City of Albuquerque and others. The DFMO is involved with strategic planning, oversight of MDC operation, and is not involved in management decisions. There are 9 serving members in the DFMO currently, and you can find that on page 4 and 6, the members who, 4 through 6 of the report who are currently serving. And as a note, as long as I've been serving since it was instituted, I don't believe that we've ever had a meeting where we were not able to meet because we didn't have a quorum. So we have a good serving board, and they're always anxious to be there in time for our board meetings. The DFMO follows the requirements of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act and encourages members of the public to be involved in meetings. All meetings are published on the BernCo website. The DFMO is presented reports on a variety of issues, and you can find those issues on page 7 through 8 of the report, specifically COVID-19 daily statistics and updates within MDC. And it's at this point, I think, even though the report talks about some specific numbers, it's worth reporting that MDC, as you can well imagine, as you've been talking about, commissioners tonight, it's just MDC, if you can imagine the work that they're having to do, the different kind of work they're having to do with COVID, the staff and the administration needs to be congratulated for the hard work that they're doing. But we get those inmate population and COVID reports updates on a daily basis in our homes. And then we, of course, we talk about it when we have our meetings. We have our inmate population report, which also goes along with the McClendon City of Albuquerque. We have our monthly ordinance reports. These include staffing for MDC, vacancies, academy graduates, years of attrition, grievances from inmates, dispositions, and tablet usage. And if you want to know what tablet usage is, although I think you probably all may know it, you can find more about that in the report as well. Something new, something different, but it's probably going to be ongoing from here on out with COVID. We talk about the Prison Rape Elimination Act, PREA. MDC receives the status of MDC with investigating PREA violations. MDC is currently with PREA investigations and recently considered just one PREA complaint. Of course, use of force reports are a major issue of what we talk about when we have our meetings. We make some suggestions to MDC and the staff and the administration, and we have also made recommendations and some advice to you, the county commissioners. It's worth noting before I move and turn it over to the vice chairman that we have this report, but this report couldn't function as well as it does in the meetings if it wasn't for Manager Julie Baca, who attends every one of our meetings. We are really grateful that she does, but She comes and doesn't miss one of our meetings that I can remember. And of course, we have the Office of Speaker. Oh, Kenny Sanchez. Sorry, that's a little flip of the tongue there. He was my speaker when I was in the House. But we don't work without the Office of the County Attorney, and Kenny is there, and his staff is there, sometimes 3-4 deep as well. And so we're really grateful to the County Attorney for coming to every one of our meetings and giving us the information that they do. And of course, we could not operate without the administrative officer that we have, Stacy Hernandez. But with that, I'd like to turn it over to the Vice Chairman, former County Commissioner Michael Brasher, to finish out the report, and then we'll stand for questions.
Thank you very much, Chairman Mura, and Mr. Chairman of the Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to meet with you. I would add also as well, Rick, that it's made a difference having County Manager Baca attend our meetings, and the information we're getting on COVID-19 on a daily basis has been very helpful and helps us in our discussions as we conduct our meetings. A couple of highlights that have happened recently at the jail. The MDC kitchen remodel has been tremendous. It's been needed. Much of the equipment was beyond useful life. It's been replaced. The remodeling has been just tremendous. Pictures of it are available at the report on pages 8 through 10 if you've got a copy of the report. And one of the important pieces of that is that it has also made the jail PREA compliant in the kitchen area, and that was a critical issue. Second thing I'd point out is McClendon, and to the entire county commission, the county manager, county attorney, and thank you for your regular attendance, the administration, and to the staff. You've done tremendous work. You should be very proud of the work that you've done in the McClendon case. Well, in 2016, as you're aware, the court approved a settlement agreement with specific terms and conditions of existing federal oversight. What they've done is they have created these domains, and the domains are areas that need to be addressed to make the jail compliant with the federal decrees. And the domains cover areas from medical services, mental health services. There are 6 domains for conditions of confinement. And in many of these areas, we're already in compliance with the conditions, and we're checking to make sure there are periods of sustainability. So some tremendous work has been done, and these are, in many instances, very difficult situations that need to be dealt with. So MDC is progressing, becoming fully compliant in all domains. And in fact, as recently as I believe March of 2020, MDC became compliant in 46 provisions of one domain. And there are many divisions in each domain that the jail MDC must be in compliance with. And they've been moving in a direction of complete compliance. And where they have compliance, they're checking for sustainability. So they've done tremendous work there. And the board has been quite pleased with their efforts. And Mr. Martinez and Manager Baca, thank you for your help and the assistance of the staff and of course all the people who work at that facility who are just absolutely tremendous people who have a difficult job and really do it quite well. Some additional things that we've discussed at our meetings, and I'll be very brief, so this won't go on long. MDC has dealt with a number of issues. The tablet thing, that program that Chairman Mura was talking about, is an important program, particularly now where communication is so critical and so incredibly difficult. And so the tablet program that's in place allows communication with families, communication with attorneys, with the MDC staff, with medical, ability to file grievances. And then of course there's some light entertainment use of this equipment for playing games and listening to music. The report is on page 11 of the DFMO report, and I think you'll find it interesting. This is one of those programs, I think, that if it hasn't caught on in other areas in the state, it will, and certainly around the country it will. And I think it's been well received by those in our care. And of course, we had a report for the Office of Professional Standards, and it's something we look at very closely. It's the division that investigates policy violations within MDC, violations that range from employee misconduct to PERA violations. So we have listened to their presentation, and it serves as a guideline to us for how we are to conduct ourselves in our meetings. Some notable DFMO recommendations, and then I'll close out. Of course, the medically non-viable inmates, MDC is now partnering with health providers to help police officers not hold inmates longer than necessary. There's also a partnership with the Bernalillo County Fire Department to move inmates to providers that would be better served outside of MDC prior to actual arrest. So that's been one of the works of our group, and with the help of staff and with management. And so we're appreciative of that. There's one thing that we think is very critical, and we've sent you a letter on it, and we hope something can be done. And that is regarding the funding for Gordon Burnell School. The board feels the school is critical. We think it's essential. It provides a very basic, important service for a population in our community that must be served. We know that the funding is difficult, and we don't know what the source of funding would be, but somehow, some way, that has got to be figured out. The school must continue. There's genuine agreement on the board that Gordon Burnell is an important program. And so that is the letter of recommendation we sent to you. We recognize we just make recommendations. We don't set policy, and you have a difficult position, commissioners, and we respect that. But if there can be funding for the school somehow from the state, or perhaps even from the county, we're hoping that can happen, because there's a population that truly must be served. So we ask for your consideration of that. And the other thing is that we wrote a letter to the county commission advocating for additional correctional officers. And again, budgets are tough issues, and we respect that, and we respect your positions. Our position as people who make recommendations is we'd like to see more correctional officers at the facility. We're willing to brainstorm any way we can to go to neighborhoods and encourage people to support the jail and the need for correction officers. But that was the letter, that was the request, specifically asking that there be additional officers at the facility. Can I close by adding what Rick said that I think is so important, is that we have a really good board. We do not have meetings. Chairman Bureau, you're absolutely right. We do not have meetings where we don't have a quorum. We have people who come ready to meet at the meetings and be active, constructive participants in that board. And I think they've done a wonderful job. And to Julie and to Ken and to Stacy and to the board members and to the staff and the people who work at that facility, who are just absolutely tremendous, tremendous people. You have our thanks and our appreciation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brasher. Thank you, Mr. Miera. Any other thoughts, comments?
That
Mr.
concludes
Chair?
our presentation. Thank you.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yeah, I would like to know more about the Burnell School, because actually it's not very far from the UNM Health Clinic, which is off of 4th Street. It's actually not very far from my house. And so I saw it get built. And so what happened with it? It was built, obviously, and I don't know what funding went into that. And then Well, it's been sitting there. I didn't realize it didn't have any operational money, or maybe not enough operational money. So if you could talk a little bit about that,
I
that would be
would,
good.
thank you, Commissioner O'Malley. I'd be happy to, and without taking too much time, because I could dwell on this one, but you have to understand the way the funding comes for schools. And as you could well imagine, funding comes from schools from pre-K through 12. But the Gordon Burnell School talks about and instructs individuals who are over the age of 18. And as such, we are utilizing monies that have been set aside for pre-K through 12. On the opposite end of that one, we do allow some certain funding for certain kind of special education from the federal funds up to the age of 21. But these individuals that we're talking about here are much older than that, as you can well imagine. But it is a charter school. And because of that, we were able, at least when I was in, and Kenny and I were in the session, we were able to put the money aside so that we could take a look at this as a pilot project, and the pilot worked out. But the truth of the matter is we are working individuals to try to get their high school diploma after the age of 18 or 21. So that's the difference of the school than any other school. But I think we have judges who rightfully will ask some of their clients or those individuals who come before them to say, you know what, you got to do this, you got to do that, and you got to go get a high school diploma. Well, it's just not easy to get a high school diploma unless you go to a school that is offering high school diplomas. We're not talking about GEDs, we're talking about a high school diploma, and that is what this school does. And because of that, in the last couple of years, it's been a push-pull operation up in Santa Fe, is saying we shouldn't be putting that money into this kind of operation. But I think, as the vice chairman said, and all of the committee has had this conversation with them, we've had the school over to us, and I've been over the school numerous times. The bottom line is that it provides a special kind of schooling for individuals who are in jail. And let me tell you, there's nothing more important for an individual who's able to say the graduations will make you cry, but the graduations of these individuals who are 36 years of age and dropped out of school, but they're getting their high school diploma now, and they can get a job, because you can't get a job without a high school diploma. And GEDs just as much are hard to get, but their GED programs are getting harder and harder to find. Long answer for a good question, Chairman, Commissioner O'Malley.
So I'm sorry, the school is not operational at
It
this
is
time?
operational now, but it's a year-to-year situation as we go to Santa Fe and try to ask them to be able to give us the monies that they need to continue it. But as of right now, they're still getting their monies, but that could fall apart at any particular time. Every year, it's a year-to-year situation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Casada.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have to reiterate that call for help. I know that in my district, I have the RFK Charter School who I've been able to help minimally, but they have a really great adult high school diploma program that's always struggling for funding, and it's just, this is the deal. If you expect people to change, well, you have to give them opportunities to change, and without those opportunities, people seem to be kind of, wow, they didn't really change their life. And a lot of times these individuals never had opportunities, and so you'd be amazed what people will do when you give them opportunities. So I wish there was more of a way we could look at that program through Bernalillo County, or even through whatever funding source we can find to make sure that they have the adequate funding to continue that. It would be a shame to have a building that eventually ends up just being a building. That's not our purpose, and so I hear you, Representative, and I want to be a part of that solution. So maybe we can sit down and see what other opportunities we could come up with.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner. You led us into the most important part of that statement, and that is, we've done the statistics. They've been there for years. These individuals get their diplomas, they get the schooling, they don't come back to the jail. That's the most important part ever. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Good topics. I mean, I know right now it seems to be that there's a heavy emphasis on obviously early childhood education, getting to our youth early and helping them. But it sounds like there's just as much a need for those who obviously, if they're 18, we haven't had an early childhood program in place for that long. So possibly the county should look at our legislative priorities and having someone as competent in understanding how the legislative process works, like Representative Miera, maybe could help advocate to get some of that, because it's one of those situations where, you know, obviously Gordon Burnell School is in the county. However, as we know, funding for education is all developed at the state level. And after 18, thank you, Miss Margarita Chavez, for enlightening me, the funding dries up. So I think it's a group effort. I don't think you'll get an argument from the county. I'm not speaking for my co-workers here, but what I'm saying is, obviously it's a concerted effort and putting that behind, and it sounds like there's enough momentum to try to do that. So thank you all very much for that. And thank you for the great report. I had the honor of actually, as part of my duties, I guess once a year, the chair has to do a tour of the jail, and you'll hear about that report later. And I just want to commend, I did that virtually this year. It was amazing, just in terms of even virtually, and what Chief Richardson is doing out there in light of, you know, the challenges that are going on, in terms of, you know, having a population that is constantly turning over and the COVID risk being at 100%. I mean, let's just be real. There is no doubt that every person coming into the jail right now who is coming in from the streets most likely is not following the safety protocols that the rest of us are trying to. So the likelihood that they are going to be exposed and our workers are going to be exposed is 100%. And we're seeing it. So to Chief Richardson and his staff, thank you. Stay strong, stay safe, and it's up to us to provide them whatever they need in order to do that. It's critical. And if you haven't taken a tour recently, to Commissioner Brasher's point, that new kitchen, I mean, even virtually, what I was seeing, it is amazing. I remember seeing pictures of it prior. So knowing, and to Ms. Sadia White, who really pushed for that, to get that in place, to have the new contract, these are all things that the county is doing. So let's keep our momentum behind that. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it. And Chief Richardson, stay strong, man. Stay strong. With that, we'll move on to approval of minutes. 6A, I move that we approve the October 13th, 2020 administrative meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Piscotti got the second in. Collie right behind her. Almost Casada, man. I was looking to the left. He was banging the buzzer, but I missed it. Daggone it. All right. With that, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Minutes carry. Ms. Kavanaugh, I'll call the roll.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kavanaugh. Number 2, the meeting minutes of October 2nd, October 27th. I know Casada's going to second, so I'm going to move to approve. Casada seconds. Look at that. I'm reading his mind. I can sense it. It's coming through right here. So we have a motion and a second for the minutes of October 27th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Kavanaugh?
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Unanimous. Thank you all very much. Approval of the consent agenda. So I move to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second? Ah, Commissioner Casada. All right. All right. I thought you were coming in, Piscotti. So we have approval first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Ms. Kavanaugh, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Casella,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kavanaugh. Okay. Item 8, adoption of ordinance amendment to county code. Madam Clerk, please provide us, Ms. Kavanaugh, with an ordinance number for item 8A.
Item 8A will be ordinance number 2020-29.
Thank you, ma'am, very much. Okay, with that, project revenue bond, PRB for Casa de Sierra Apartments. Mailing or Marcos, we have them both. They've been hiding behind their Burnco signs, probably playing Candy Crush or something, but they're both on now to talk about this. Mailing?
It's Tetris. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the Economic Development staff recommends adoption of the ordinance authorizing the Bernalillo County Commission to approve a project revenue bond application relating to the authorization, issuance, and sale by Bernalillo County, New Mexico of its multifamily housing revenue bonds for Casa de Sierra Apartments in one or more series of tax-exempt and or taxable bonds in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed 14 million. I'll stand for questions.
Commissioner Colley, I know you're the sponsor on this. Any thoughts or comments, sir?
I think it's a great program. I'm glad to see it completed. I'm delighted with bringing in additional housing for the over 55 group in the affordable category, which we need.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Okay, would you like to move approval? Oh, sorry, Julianne, did we receive any public comment?
No, we did not.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Colley, would you like to move this item forward for approval?
I move this item for approval. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Casada, thank you so much. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Kavanaugh, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Casella,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, number 9, moving along, Fleet and Facilities Management. Alvarado Square renovation, Commission Chambers Building Approval Change Order number 5. Elias, Lisa, and Sharita present. Okay, so it looks like we're trying to get a change order in the amount of 1.1 million plus 88,000 for New Mexico gross receipts tax. I'd ask that you guys discuss it, but then I'd also like just the total cost of project update, if you would, after this particular change order, so we can all be on the same page and understanding where we're at with it. So I don't know, Elias, are you starting it off?
Mr. Chairman, Cherie, our architect on the project, will take the presentation and questions.
Ms. Cherie, you're up. Thank you, sir.
All right, good evening. As Elias mentioned, my name is Cherie McKenzie, and I am the project manager for the Alvarado Square project. This project has been closely really watching this public health crisis unfold, and a new subcommittee for the project has been assembled to respond with thoughtful and appropriate measures. We had our design build team partners, Decker Pear Sabatini, produce an extensive recovery planning document, and it was all based on industry best practices, recommendations, and some orders of magnitude in implementing COVID-19 work into the project. A great amount of weight on that path forward was put on the results that we received from a staff survey regarding a return to work effort. This change order encompasses 6 different items, the first being design and coordination, and it includes all of the design services that were affected by the return to work efforts. The second item is furniture and workstation changes, and this includes modifications to the furniture, including the addition of plexiglass barriers to help diminish the transmission of respiratory droplets between our staff and constituents. The third item is directional and queuing signage. Signage is going to be crucial to help both help staff and constituents communicate operational expectations, social distancing markers, and directional movement throughout the building. Item number 4 is sanitization requirements. This includes all of our sanitization stations, including hand sanitizer stanchions, as well as wall-mounted units that include hand sanitizer, facial tissue, disinfecting wipes, and disposable face masks. The fifth item is the ability to work outside. The building has 3 patios that are part of the design. We had originally intended that these would be available for staff to eat lunch. And now we are going to extend our Wi-Fi and actually make these areas available for staff to work outside if they so wish. The sixth and final item is the additional video conferencing technology in all of our shared spaces throughout the building, including our huddle and team rooms to support a distributed workforce. And with that, I stand for questions.
Thank you, Cherie. Elias or Ms. White, can you provide, if we approve this, what the total cost of project will be at this point? Someone's on mute.
Do you have that total number with you? Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, it's okay.
Elias, Commissioner, I do. I have a total project cost if number 5 is approved without GRT or including GRT at $55,555,126.62.
Okay. Commissioner Piscotti?
Yes, I just wanted to ask, is CARES money being used for any of this?
All Chairman, Commissioner Piscotti, all of the items included in this change order are CARES Act eligible.
Oh, cool. Good call. Like that. Well, the 55, I'm actually, I'm surprised. That's a good number. I've been working off a number a little higher, so way to go. Good job. And by the way, great work getting that that pedestrian bridge moved with no challenges or issues. That's a huge undertaking. I saw some pictures, and you know, you take a look at a monstrosity such as that, and you talk about, it's one thing to put it up, it's another to make it come down. So nice work.
Mr. Chairman, that's a testament to a number of our divisions kind of working hand in hand quickly to tackle everything from funding to who owns, you know, the bridge, which is turning out to be incredibly complicated, to just our technical staff lining everything up to get that taken down as quickly as we can.
So I have to ask, I mean, there's only like 2 groups that could own the bridge, right? Either P&M, who owned the building, and someone built that bridge, and I'm probably sure it was P&M. So anyway, good luck with that, I guess. Yeah, I guess the question would be, it's not so much as figuring out who owns the bridge, it's figuring out who will own the bridge, take ownership of it. So anyway, thanks, Elias. Okay, well, with that, I would move approval for the change order number 5. Thank you, Commissioner Piscotti and Cherie, for talking about the CARES money. That's good. To accept change order number 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Piscotti, thank you so much. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Kavanaugh, please call the roll.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Item 9B, Route 66 Visitor Center Project and Community Workforce Agreement. We've got Elias, Lisa, Ken to present. I know Commissioner Quesada had a couple of comments and thoughts. Do you want to hold those till after the presentation, or would you like to make those first, sir?
Well, I think maybe if I do them first, maybe we don't go that far into this.
Okay.
So first of all, I want to ask Elias if we have if all the unions have signed this agreement.
Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, Ken is probably better suited to answer that question with regard to the agreements with the unions. So Ken, I would like to defer to you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, that's a good question. The answer is they're ready to sign. If you note, there was a couple of amendments they were going to make to the agreement, which is the first item, item 1. I had recommended to the unions, the Building Trades Council and Carpenters, that they would have to sign the final agreement, would be subject to the amendments contemplated by the commission today. It's been circulated to the Building Trades Council and the Carpenters. I think they were fine with the language of the CWA, understanding there were still a couple of amendments that this commission was looking to take up this evening.
So are they gonna have other amendments also?
Not that I'm aware of, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Casada. I'm not aware of the Building Trades Council or the Carpenters having amendments. Just in brief, the amendments would have been 3. 1 is correct a few typos, which I think have already been taken care of. 2 is to add in the Carpenters because they're not part of the Building Trades Council. They have to be named separately. So that's been done. I don't think there's any controversy on that. The last amendment's a little harder one. You had asked us to research whether or not we can have any additional language with regard to local workforce preference. Mr. Danny Jarrett, who's with us now, did a lot of research at the national level. There's a recent decision out of Alaska that's really kind of curtailing the look of that language. And I know talking to Elias that in some of the federal projects, there's an absolute prohibition in the Code of Federal Regulations about local preferences. So what we have currently in the workforce agreement on local preferences, we think it gets us about as far as we can go without going any further. So those were the amendments. And so the trade unions have not
So the
signed.
short answer really is that they haven't signed these agreements yet. So we don't even really have a CWA agreement as of tonight, right?
That's correct. We would need to.
So my second question would be maybe to Elias and staff. When I voted for the CWA, everybody had told me that it would not increase the price of a project. And so I have a lot of concern now because, we've worked over 10 years trying to raise the money for the Route 66 project, and we're supposed to be breaking ground here in December. And so now I'm hearing that if we do the CWA agreement, that it's gonna raise the price of the project, which I was told that when we voted this in, that it would not raise the price of any project. And so I just want everybody to know that if it raises the price of the project, we don't have the money, we don't do the project. Nobody works on this project. Nobody gets to build a project that we don't have the money for. One of the reasons for us to expedite this project in the last year was so we've raised enough money from the state, from the city of Albuquerque and Bernalillo County to build this project, which has been 10 years in the works. And I support the CWA and I do support it, moving forward. I just don't think that it's fair that you put it on a project that we just barely raised the money for. And now we're saying it's going to cost more to do the project. We're going to have to push the project into next year. And that wasn't what I had been promised. That's not what the city was aware of, or the state representatives and state senators who have donated to this project. I want you to know they've all called me with big concerns about why are we enforcing something that they helped fund? And so, those questions are valid. I'm very concerned about us not doing this project or us having to go back to Santa Fe to try to raise the rest of the funds to adhere to this. As you know, now's not a good time to go to Santa Fe to ask them for anything due to the pandemic. So I'm humbly asking that if we could, I would like to to move forward with the CWA. But I'm humbly asking that we don't put this on the Route 66 project. We're supposed to be breaking ground in December. We've really kind of exhausted our funding. We've worked years and years on this project. I want to support that moving forward, because then you'll know that when you put an RFP out and you get the design and you get, and you get all those things in place, that will already be part of that. This was not this didn't fall into that. This is kind of being shoved in at the end, right when we're about to break ground. And I'm just humbly asking that, we kind of not do that in this project. But Elias, if you guys could answer me why the price of the project is going up and why we'd have to push breaking ground in December.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Quesada, part of the reason that we're stating that the price may go up is we haven't done this before. We're with the CWAs, we are putting requirements on the contractor that is going to dictate, how they staff their workforce, which is out of the norm for the way they're doing business. And with the construction industry, anytime that we change how they do business or how they're used to bidding a project, we're adding risk into that project, and the contractors will, they equate risk to cost in money. We don't know how much or if or how much it will raise the price, but just due to the fact that we are changing the rules under which they're bidding a project, we're expecting that we will see some increase regarding with regards to the estimate that we had already prepared. So a lot of this is just in the unknown of us being kind of having a pioneering process in applying these into what, is in New Mexico is a low bid state. So anytime we mess with how they do that, then we see that risk equated into added cost in the project.
So Elias, we've been working on this project for a long time. There's certain things I do know about how we move forward. And I know for a fact through all the meetings that we've done and all the work that we've done for this project, that if we don't have the money to cover the project dies, right? It never goes out for RFP. You have to have the money. And at this point, we do have the money. But now, if we adhere to this new policy that we're putting forward, we're not going to have the money. And it's going to be really hard set for me to turn around not only to the community, but to the senators, the representatives, and the city of Albuquerque to say, I need more money. We're going to have to push it again another year. And as you know, this is not a very popular project with the other side of the river. We've navigated many times when people try to kill this project. I just feel that this may be that one last nail to kill the Route 66 project. And I'm pleading that we don't kill this project based on, I know we're trying to do something right here, and I get that. And I've done my research and I want to be able to move forward doing it right. I just feel that it's unfair that we kill a project that we have worked, and this community and many elected officials have worked so hard and diligent and fought so many obstacles to even, as you know, I even backed off and let him do the whole study and I've done all of that. I've done everything I possibly can to adhere to making this a viable project. I know this is not on you, Elias. You're great at what you do. Thank you for being honest, but we don't have the money to do it. I don't want to kill this project if it goes up in money, because we have a little bit of money wiggle right now in case there is stuff during construction costs or those sorts of costs, but we don't have it if we push it, because every time we've pushed this, it's always gone up another $1 million. And I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but that's the truth. Every time it's been pushed, they're like, well, it was that, now it's going to cost this. And so we go out, we hustle, and we go get the money. I just don't feel confident that we're going to go out and hustle and get the money anytime soon. So
Quick question. I mean, Kenny and Danny, you know, when we put that ordinance in place, is there nothing in place that says you know, on a go forward basis, not for projects that have already been approved, not for projects that are already, you know, pretty much at the end stages, ready to break ground kind of thing, just on the new things that we start to do? I mean, it just seems like because we have been working on this for so long, that to lose that momentum and not be able to do it because of something like this just doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Casada. Those are both great points and good questions. The ordinance for the community workforce agreement, and Mr. Jarrett can speak to this more if you'd like, actually puts the discretion as to which projects it would apply to the commission. So without getting too deep into when it shouldn't apply, if you recall, it was kind of a workout over probably a year. And the final work on it is that there is a community workforce agreement that the county is putting together. And then the county commission would decide on a project by project basis to which projects it would apply. Each project's a little different. Elias and I have talked about vertical versus horizontal construction, federal regulations. The other issue Commissioner Casada brought up to me earlier this week is what happens when it's a combination project between several different governmental entities. So there's each project is different. Ultimately, the discretion whether or not the CWA would apply goes to the commission. When we found out that this was the first project that be over the $7 million threshold, I think this one is estimated at $11 million. We immediately placed a placeholder for the commission to decide whether or not the CWA would apply to this project. So that's completely a commission decision.
So how do we do that? Are we able to make a motion during this particular situation to say, if the majority says we don't want to do a CWA on this particular project, how does that work?
Yeah, and if you look at it's kind of listed that way. Julianne, of course, always does a great job. If you look at item number 3, approve the use of the community workforce agreement on the Route 66 Visitor Center. You may want to vote on it in that method, or just say we move that we do not apply WA to the Route 66 Voter Center. And it's on the agenda for that purpose, for you to decide. The other decision points are whether or not we want to do some amendments, but honestly, maybe the first question is, do you want to apply the CWA to this project? And if you don't, we don't necessarily have to do the amendments. And indeed, there may be some other amendments because some have been suggested, like what do we do in joint projects? Mr. Jarrett has done some good research on that. There may be some clarifying amendments folks would want to add. We do want to get the CWA to where it becomes a template, right? And we do want to get the CWA where the county manager can execute it, but probably not amend it. But I think the first question is, should the CWA apply to this project? That's a commission decision.
County Manager Baca, real quick, did you want to say something that looks like Commissioner O'Malley maybe?
Just really quick. So Mr. Chairman and Ken, can't you just vote on each of the B1, 2, and 3? Can't they be voted on separately? So, I mean, I'm not sure if the commission wishes to go ahead and approve the amendments to the CWA and then authorize me to execute the workforce agreement.
He's saying we can just say we choose not to do it at all on this particular project, and then it wipes out those 3 amendments, correct, Ken? If we chose that route?
You could do it either way. That's absolutely correct. If the third question's answered, then you may want to take some time to look at other amendments. There are some questions about clarifying amendments. The amendments we have before you, I think, are good, with the lone exception of the amendments to the paragraph with regard to local preferences. Mr. Jarrett has a case that he found between state of Washington and state of Alaska that causes us some concern. We want to be careful with that language. But I think if the first question presented is whether or not you want to do the CWA on this project, that's a commission decision. the next questions would be, do we want to have the authority for the manager to execute? You can decide that tonight, or you can decide at the next project that's comes up. And the other question is, we want to make sure we do add the carpenters in, because that just something that didn't happen in our title. Those are probably easy amendments to do. Whether you do them tonight or do them the next time we bring this before the commission, that's completely a commission decision.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my understanding is there's I guess at this point, public knowledge, or there will be, in terms of what's available for funding for this project, and I'm assuming that it's I guess it's now $11 million. Is that the total project budget, or around that? Elias?
Elias or Commissioner Casada?
I don't have that in front of me right now on the project,
Chairman Talbert, Commissioner O'Malley, there is $11.6 million in the budget for this project.
That's a total now, 11.6?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Malley. Commissioner Casada, I mean, obviously this is your deal, your project. You're passionate about it. How would you like to move forward tonight with this particular item in terms of this CWA and the other items?
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a problem with 1 and 2. I think if we're gonna fix this and we're gonna move it forward eventually, let's do I don't mind doing the work tonight. But I would ask for that the Route 66 Visitor Center project be grandfathered in, and that it wouldn't apply to the CWA at this point. And that I don't have a problem with us, getting the unions aboard and getting them signed and moving this forward. I'm a union guy, man, but this has gone beyond what I could do as a union. As I've stated before many times, I just don't represent my side. I'm elected to represent all sides, and so at this point, for me to represent all sides and all the people involved in the Route 66 Center, then as that being my job, I think what they would prefer is that we move forward, get this project done without this falling under that umbrella with the CWA, but going ahead and moving forward and making sure that that we have all the proper things in place. I think another thing we got to look at in amendments down the line is, to really clarify when funding sources come from the state and the city and the county, how do we apply the CWA to that? And this is what this project does. And I don't 100% feel that the language clarifies that. It kind of leaves it open for interpretation. And I would rather not have interpretation if we have projects like that moving forward, that we can really work on that language also. So for tonight, I'm good with 1 and 2. I just don't believe this should be applied to the Route 66 Visitor Center project. So I don't know how you want to do that, Mr. Chair. If you want to separate them and vote on them separately, that's okay with me, as long as it doesn't apply to this particular project.
Okay, so I think that if we approve item 1, item 2, and then we don't approve item 3 because it says approve the use of the community workforce agreements on Route 66 Visitor Center, I think we obtain what you're looking for. So is that correct, Mr. Martinez?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, there's a little nuance to that. On item 1, we would recommend that you approve the amendments with the exception of the amendment to the local hiring preference. So, and it's pretty clear, basically leaves the adding in the carpenters, which makes sense. But if you look at that, include 4.6 preference given to hiring local Bernalillo County workers, we would probably need to take that out, leave the existing language. So you're basically adopting half the amendment with regard to carpenters, leave out the local preference language. If you need more.
Mr. Chair,
O'Malley? Yes.
We're going to be voting on that item though, right? Whether or not to put the Route 66.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to be voting on that separately. Okay,
yes, ma'am.
thank you.
So with that, Commissioner Colley? You're on mute. Commissioner Colley, you're on mute. Can't hear you.
It seems to me that you were looking for a motion. I'm happy to move the approval of items 1 and 2 with the stipulations that Mr. Martinez said about not including the particular act on local preference hiring.
Okay.
And also, Mr. Chair, on item 2, since Commissioner Colley is making a motion on both, we would like to allow the county manager to execute the workforce agreement, but subsequent amendments, we would probably leave any subsequent amendments up to the commission. So take out that second half. This is just such a big issue. The community workforce agreement amendments should be commission action, not, we were trying to find a middle ground for the county manager. And honestly, we didn't want to saddle her with that. These should come back to the commission for any amendments to the CWA. So
yeah, Mr. Chair, my motion would include both of Mr. Martinez's concerns about item 1 and item 2.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Commissioner Casada?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, so these two amendments exclude Route 66 completely, right?
This is item 1 and 2. The
Yeah,
third item is the Route 66.
They're not specifically to Route 66, right?
That's my understanding. That's correct.
All right, well, I would second the motion by Commissioner Colley regarding items 1 and 2 based on the items County Attorney Ken Martinez has recommended. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chair, I guess I'm a little confused. So.
Yes, ma'am.
We're voting on the next item. I'm assuming that, I'm assuming maybe Mr. Commissioner Casada has a support. But if, so they're not tied to one another is my point.
Right. So the final one we'll vote on will be if for this particular project, we're going to include a community workforce agreement.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So a motion and a second. All in favor for items 1 and 2, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll take the roll call real quick, Ms. Kavanaugh.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Casada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So now, item 3 is if we want to approve the use of a community workforce agreement on the Route 66 Visitor Center.
Mr. Chair,
right,
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Piscotti.
Yeah, may I just make a comment, please?
Sure.
Yeah, on that item 1, I'm totally in favor of using the carpenters, that part. And Ken Martinez explained that, even though I had really pushed strongly about getting local people to work on the jobs, he explained that there are some legal issues in there that we can't put in there, but it's covered under our procurement code. So I felt good about that. Item number 3, I think one of the things that really bothers me about that is that even though this project is over $11 million, the county's share of it is way under the $7 million threshold that the county had set for using that workforce agreement. I think it's like 2-point-something million dollars that the county is putting into this. So yeah, to require other entities to pitch in more money if the price is raised, that, I'm just not into committing other people's money. So I think this is a very tricky case that we started out with as the first one to use as a prototype. So I just wanted to talk about why I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Mr. Chair, just to have another question.
Commissioner
So
O'Malley.
Do you have, does anyone have anything handy that talks about the different sources of funding? I think there's essentially three: state, city, and county.
Chairman Talbert, Commissioner
Yes,
O'Malley.
Lisa.
Yes, I do. The Bernalillo state appropriation, the total state outlay is 3.9 million, just under. Bernalillo County's appropriations are 3,765,000, and the cities are 5.6 million. Those are the three appropriations. If you need me to read them again, I'll be happy to.
So the state and the county combined is what?
I'll give you the exact amount. $7,649,922. That's the state and the county combined.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, I would make the motion that we, for this particular project, choose not to invoke a community workforce agreement on the Route 66 Visitor Center for project per ordinance 2020-20.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Thank you so much, Commissioner Casada, Commissioner Colley. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Commissioner O'Malley, thank you. Ms. Kavanaugh, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
No.
Commissioner Casada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye. You got to get Commissioner Piscotti.
Sorry, Commissioner Piscotti.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I won't let you forget her. Thank you. So we all said aye. 4-1, excuse me, sorry. Motion passes on a 4-1. To be clear, we will not be invoking the community workforce agreement on the Route 66 Visitor Center. However, we did approve the other two items related to the 4.6 or the including the Carpenters Union in the future, as well as authorizing County Manager Baca to work with these agreements. So thank you all very much for that healthy discussion. Item C, collective bargaining agreement with the Albuquerque Area Firefighters, Local 244. Chief Perez and Melissa Beebe to present.
Good evening, Mr. Commissioners. I'm Melissa Beebe. I'm representing Human Resources and standing in for our HR Director, Bernadette Perez. I would like to introduce you to our Chief Negotiator, who's represented the County Manager, John Martinez, and he will take it from here.
Hey, Mike,
Okay,
you want to eat?
okay, I'm on. Yep. Mr. Chairman, members of the County Commission, my pleasure to appear before you today to recommend the approval of the new contract negotiated with the firefighters. I'd like to first identify the teams for the firefighters union. We had the president, Jeremy Polk, who served as chief negotiator, Tim O'Brien, commander, Chris Holland, captain, Angel Alvarado, the engineer, and on the management team, we had Chief Pettis, Shirley Reagan, Bernadette Pice, Zachary Lardy, Deputy Chief, and Melissa Beebe, and myself. These negotiations began on July 17th, 2020, and the whole contract was opened up for negotiations. The contract included 45 articles. Out of the 45 articles, 17 were open for negotiations. Negotiations began on July 17th and were completed. And we completed negotiations on October 7th. It took a couple of more sessions to tie up loose ends, and we completed that by October the 19th. On June 30th, the contract was presented to the membership, and the firefighters ratified the agreement. We have provided a summary of the articles that were changed, that provided for change in the negotiations. And I am here to answer any questions you might have, and also to recommend the approval of this contract.
Thank you very much. I move approval for the collective bargaining agreement with firefighters local 244 county chapter. Do I have a second? Second, Commissioner Piscotti. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Kavanaugh, please.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Thank you very
team.
much.
Great job. Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, procurement and business services, Sheriff's Office, body worn camera equipment purchase. Dinah, Lisa, and Sheriff's Office. So Miss Dinah, Miss Lisa, who has the honor?
Mr. Chair, Lisa. So Mr. Chair, members of the commission, before I begin my presentation, I would like to request your approval to amend motions 1 and motions 3 and can state them for the record. Motion 1 of the agenda item, I would like to amend as follows. Authorize the county manager to execute a services agreement with Utility Associates Incorporated for Sheriff's Office body worn camera equipment, software, maintenance, and storage. Motion 3, I would like to amend as follows. Authorize the county manager to approve subsequent agreements to the services agreement. And if you could just vote on those changes, Mr. Chair.
Sure. Motion to accept the changes to the amendment as stated by Deputy County Manager Lisa Cedillo-White. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Quesada, thank you so much. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Ms. Kavanaugh?
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. The other two items are to authorize the county manager to approve expenditures exceeding the county manager's $200,000 threshold pursuant to Administrative Resolution AR 2018-49 with the vendor Utility Associates Incorporated. And then motion 4 is to authorize the county manager to approve expenditures exceeding the county manager's $200,000 threshold with cell phone providers. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, now some background information. On June 30th, 2020, the Bernalillo County Commission passed Administrative Resolution AR 2020-67, supporting Comprehensive Senate Bill 8, signed into law by Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham on July 8th, 2020, requiring law enforcement agencies to use body-worn cameras. Over the past 3 months, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office has conducted extensive research on the available types of body-worn camera, equipment, and technology, and has selected the body-worn camera hardware and software technology manufactured by Utility Associates Incorporated, which has the most advanced technology that offers real-time technology, including CAD activation, holster sensor activation, vehicle sensor activation, and has the ability to start automatic recording, send alerts to all nearby officers, and many other capabilities. The proposed services agreement has a term of 5 years and is estimated at $3,104,936. The method of procurement to be utilized is a state of New Mexico price agreement. The estimated number of sheriff's department sworn personnel to be outfitted with the technology package is estimated right around a little over 200. Additionally, the Sheriff's Department will incur annual expenses with cell phone providers, which is not included in the services agreement. The total budget for the body-worn camera technology package and cellular services is not to exceed $3.8 million over a 5-year period. In addition, the Sheriff's Office also has identified the need for additional staffing to administer the program and address an anticipated increase in IPRA request, and is working with the Human Resources Department and Deputy County Manager Shirley Reagan to identify vacant funded positions. And the positions are not included in the $3.8 million total budget. If the agenda item is approved tonight, the goal would be to present the county manager the contract on Friday. And as soon as the contract is fully executed, a purchase order will be issued. Our vendor is planning to come out on Monday, November 16th, to start an initial on-site survey and a kickoff meeting, which basically starts the planning of the implementation with the Sheriff's Department and all stakeholders. Under Sheriff Corrin is present to answer any questions. And I've also invited Clay Campbell from Utility Associates to answer any questions that the commission may have. So at this point, I stand for any questions. And Under Sheriff Corrin is on the line as well, in addition to our vendor.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Piscotti.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have a question at this point. I just want to give a shout out. I think that this has been a really hard process to get the right vendor and the service and everything, and especially at this point where funding is so limited. So I just want to thank you, Lisa, Dinah, of course, County Manager Julie, and the Sheriff's Department, the undersheriffs, Corrin and Covington, and of course, Sheriff Manny Gonzalez. I think everybody's working in good faith to meet that state mandate and doing the best that we can with what we have. I'd like to see actually funding for body cameras, full funding put on our priority list for capital outlay for the upcoming session. Because this is a state mandate, I think that it would be really nice to have the state pitch in some money for this, because we're seeing how expensive it really is. And so, yeah, I just appreciate everybody working so hard to do the most we can with what we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Commissioner Piscotti, this has basically been a joint effort with county leadership working in conjunction with the Sheriff's Department.
Great. Any other questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? All right. Well, it sounds like we've amended a couple of items on here. Sorry. So I guess we can go ahead. A motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, and 4 under procurement and business services. Item D, as presented amended. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Commissioner Piscotti? I will second Commissioner Casada. Thank you so much. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Sadia White. Thank you to the Sheriff's Department. We'll get a roll call from Ms. Kavanaugh.
Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Casada,
Aye.
Chairman Talbert.
Aye.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ms. Kavanaugh. And thank you to Dinah. I know she's a lot of times behind the scenes, really working closely with all of the different departments to make sure that we get these things done. So thank you to her as well and to everyone.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. All right, we're on to item 10. I'm going to pass the gavel to Vice Chair Piscotti and let her bring us home. I did want to say just real quick in closing on my part that our meeting of December 8th, I think that's my last meeting. So for those of you that are happy that's my last meeting, then guess what? December 8th it is. And for those of us who will be there, December 8th it is. So thank you all very much. Appreciate you. Thanks, Vice Chair. You're on.
Thank you. And so now we're on to the discussion portion of our program for the evening. The first one, Homeless Coordinating Council update, sponsored by Commissioner Colley. Would you like to present or lead us off here?
Well, I just want to explain myself. I realize we're at the end of a long meeting. One of the things that I was especially sensitive to at the last meeting was the feeling among commissioners that they hadn't been informed about critical involvements of the county in a variety of places. And it seemed to me, from my perspective, that one of the things pending and coming down the road for us is this quest for I don't want to say solution, steps forward in terms of the way in which our community deals with homeless. I think that's, it's going to be big, it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult. We're in a memorandum of understanding with the city that makes very clear our commitment to resolving these issues along with the University of New Mexico. The three of us are working hard at it, and I'm not sure that officially the county has had a report. So I requested this be put on the discussion item, and I'm going to turn it back to you, Madam Chair, Ms. Commissioner Piscotti, and say you're the Vice Chair of the Council, and you may well want to lead off on this conversation.
Okay. You know, I actually have a suggestion. It looks to me like Commissioner O'Malley has left the building, so to speak. And she's also on the HCC. My recommendation, first of all, next week, Thursday, we're giving a report to the ABCGC. And so I'd recommend if people want to hear about that they tune into that meeting, because there will be a full presentation from the county, the city, and UNM. And so perhaps we could defer this item until after that. And then I think we'd be able to have a more full presentation. And if people are satisfied just watching the ABC-GC presentation, then I think there's going to be a lot of information given there. What do you think about putting this item off, Commissioner Colley?
Well, sure. I don't want to prolong a long meeting. I do think, though, that the record of this county is important. The record is in the minutes of this meeting, whereas the ABCGC minutes are not. So if we were just going to leave it up to whether you're interested or not, tune in. I don't know. I think it would,
Commissioner
I think you're
Casada?
correct. It would be a fuller report to have all the people briefing us at this time. So
Okay.
I
And,
will
you know,
not.
in all fairness, I was approached to do an update on it today, and today's been a very busy day, and I don't have a full presentation prepared for this evening. So, so that's another reason that if I give a presentation, I want to have enough notice so I can do a full presentation. Commissioner Casada?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Commissioner Colley on making sure that in our administrative meetings that we do have this information out for people who do not watch that. So my suggestion would be perhaps, behavioral health from the city and the county could do a presentation coming up really soon at one of our BCC meetings. Because I agree that we need to hear what's going on at the ABCGC, and we need to know what the city, we need to know what the city sides plan is, and how we're working with the county and what UNM is doing to fill in those gaps. I would love to actually get an update on that. So I agree with him that it's important that we do it at a BCC meeting. So I think a great update would, I'm glad he put it on the calendar. It's just at the end of a meeting, and that's unfortunate that it wasn't at the beginning. But, with you wanting to do an update, I think you would be a great person to give us an update on what's happening in the city. And so if you wanted to do it that way, I would be for that too. But either way would probably be a great thing. So I agree.
Okay, so Commissioner Colley, should we schedule it for the next meeting?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, great.
And if we could just have a vote to defer this item to the December 8th.
Okay, absolutely.
Madam Chair, I move that we defer this to the next meeting.
I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Madam, would you have a title? Assistant clerk or deputy clerk?
Deputy.
Oh, deputy clerk? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Colley,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Malley left, Commissioner Piscotti or Chairman Piscotti,
Aye.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
and Commissioner Talbert.
Has left the meeting. So that passes unanimously among the three who remain. And we're really just waiting to hear about the fire truck. I believe we have already deleted the item about the behavioral health initiative expansion of capital and startup, correct? We're no longer having that presentation. So Chief Perez, do you want to talk about the new fire truck?
So Madam Chair and Commissioners, I absolutely do. So we're very, very pleased to introduce the newest piece of apparatus to our fleet, which is a 105-foot aerial platform is what it's referred to. Others refer to it as a ladder truck. This truck holds 700 gallons of water and has a reach again of 105 foot. It's used to put large amounts of water on fires or other issues from a high distance, but it's also utilized for rescue for individuals out of higher than ground level areas. So we're again extremely excited. It comes in at a $1.2 million price tag, which is huge. So we have to do a lot. There's a lot of due diligence that goes into the design and the spec of the truck to make sure that we get every little thing that we need on that truck and we get it done right. So kudos to my logistics team that goes out to Wisconsin twice, one to draw out and spec it out, and the second time along with myself to do a final inspection where we look that thing over from every single end, front to back, sideways, upwards, down, and we run it as hard as we can run it to get it tested. So again, this wouldn't be possible without the passing of the public safety tax that was done a number of years ago. This is the fruits of that labor or fruits of that tax is this $1.2 million beautiful piece of apparatus. I'm proud to announce that it will be going to the South Valley. It'll be calling the South Valley its home. So it will be running out of Station 38 located off of Rio Bravo and Prince. So Commissioner Quesada, this is your baby. and it will be coming to you probably next 2-3 weeks.
Well, thank you, but I don't think we have very tall buildings, but we'll still take it.
Absolutely. So I have a quick, I love videos. We've got a great PIO group on the fire side that loves putting videos together. So if you don't mind, we'll close you out and send you home with a nice quick video tribute to the truck.
Great.
So I stand for any questions.
Well, I have a question. So
Mr. Cullen.
the output volume that you can pour on a fire is measured how? By minute or by gallon
It's by minute and by gallon. So it all really depends on the pressure that we're able to get from a fire hydrant. So if you remember when I talked last time about the Freeman fire, it was about 6,000 pounds a minute or gallons a minute that we were able to pull from that hydrant. So we can take that and increase that pressure on the truck utilizing the built-in pump to get more than what we need. It's a state-of-the-art piece of equipment. It also has the clean cab technology, which takes all the carcinogens out of the inside of the cab. So our firefighters, men and women, are not exposed any longer to those cancer-causing carcinogens. And we're one of only a handful of departments across the country that have really taken that and run with that technology. So again, thank you all for the interest in it. It's always exciting when we get to bring something like this to the county, and we'll make sure to invite everyone for the push. And I also want to thank Lisa and Shirley for all of their help on the backside with the procurement and the financing and the budgeting of this type of equipment. And as well as Elias and his group, it's the Fleet and Facilities group that helps us to get it all ordered. So it's really a county effort, and it's exciting.
Thank you, Chief, for the
Good for you.
presentation.
You bet.
And congratulations, Commissioner Quesada. I'm sure it's going to do a lot of good in your district. And a shout out to the people who put together your pictures and your videos, Chief. I know Janessa Ruiz does an awesome job. I love seeing her stuff on Facebook. It's the only reason I scroll through Facebook, just to see if you guys come up.
Madam Chair, if I could say, the neat thing with that is we basically kind of tapped into the other interests that some of our members have besides just saving lives and fighting fires. And all three of them have this interest in broadcast and media. So they're able to kind of get the best of both worlds. And it's great for us because it's taken our department to an entirely different level as it relates to media production and social media. So thank you for recognizing that.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
And so if there's nothing else, then I will announce the next commission meeting, which is Tuesday, December 8, 2020, beginning at 5 p.m. on Zoom. And so everybody have a good Thanksgiving. Stay safe out there. I want to see everybody next time. And Deputy Clerk Kavanaugh, please feel free to join us again. It was great having you. Good seeing your smiling face. And so there will be some magical signing of official documents, and this meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.